Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. So I bought these two books at a thrift store for 20 cents a piece, and I thought I would turn them into something else. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to gesso them. I don't have gesso, and I do have the supplies that you can make your own gesso with. Now you can use Plaster of Paris, which is what I'm going to use. Now you can see this big bottle that you can get at Home Depot or any of those stores, or you can use baby powder. I'm not crazy about having my cards smell like baby powder, so I'm going with the Plaster of Paris, and you find that like in the painting section of your stores, I think. And then I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of that into this little container. And it's going to be a sealed container. Actually, I think I'm going to put it in this one because it has a better seal. And I don't think it'll be too full. You want to put it in with your dry ingredient first and then mix everything into that, because if you do it the other way, Plaster of Paris will set up fast and it'll be a nightmare for you. So you want to avoid that. Then your next ingredient is a 1/4 cup of water. And I have a little container of water right here that hopefully you can see, and that's a 1/4 cup. And I'm going to do this so that my water is in here. You also are going to use a 1/4 cup of acrylic paints, and I just have these little cheap bottles that you get from, like any of your craft stores. And I think these were 3 for $1 when I got them. I got these ones at AC Moore. Hopefully I'll get all of it out. And as I said, I'm going to mix all my wet ingredients together first, and then I'm going to combine them with my Plaster of Paris. And this is a little pour spot on it, so I'm going to do the incredibly stupid, and I'm going to pour some back into my bottle and shake it up so that I can get all of my paint out. Waste not, want not. Do this and shake it out and get all the ketchup out of the container. So we're going to dump the other acrylic paint in here, because you need a 1/2 cup of acrylic paint, white acrylic paint. Now you can make your gesso whatever color you want, and you can use like acrylic house paint. You can use kind of a lot of different things for gesso. I am using this because I think it'll work best. I'm going to leave the rest out because I want to make sure I don't put too much in. And then you need a 1/4 cup of white glue. And in my case, I'm going to use Mod Podge, the shiny kind, because I want to get rid of this. I have a lot of it. I bought one of those big containers of it, and I decant it into this. So I'm just going to pour this into my mix till I get to the 1 cup mark. Your wet ingredients are going to be a total of 1 cup, because you have 1/2 cup of white paint, and then 1/4 cup of water, and 1/4 cup of glue, or in my case Mod Podge. And then I'm going to mix these together so they're a consistency that's all, basically it's all intermingled, so we don't have white paint and white glue separate. It helps if you have a pour spout, I will tell you that. And I'm going to pour about 1/2 of it in, because I'm going to get this everywhere if I do it the other way. I'm going to do enough of it that I kind of get it so the lumps are out. Plaster of Paris will get thicker as it goes, so don't worry that right now it's not very thick, because that's not a problem. It will get thicker. So I'm going to stir this up a little bit, and then we'll come back later and we'll go over what it looks like at that point. While I'm playing Mad Scientist, I thought I would make texture paste, because when you make the gesso, you're halfway there to making texture paste as well. So what you do with texture paste is you take 1/4 cup of Mod Podge, a 1/2 cup of the gesso that we just made, and then a cup of the Plaster of Paris. So my Plaster of Paris is already in this tub, and I'm just going to dump my wet ingredients into it like I did before. And make sure it's key that you don't have lumps in your gesso, because you're going to end up with lumps in your projects too. You don't want that. And I'm just going to use that spoon to get that mess out of there. And then again, back to making sure that you put it into your plaster of Paris. You don't want to put your plaster of Paris into your wet ingredients. You want to put your wet ingredients into your plaster of Paris. That way you're sure that you aren't going to have a big ugly mess on your hands. But this makes a really nice texture paste. You know how you pay so much to get those little containers of texture paste? Now that you're making your own, it's going to be a lot less expensive, and you can kind of control what you put in it. Again, you can use baby powder instead of the plaster of Paris. I think my plaster of Paris was like $5 or $6 at Home Depot. I'm sure if I would have checked at Walmart, no, I did check at Walmart and I couldn't find it in my Walmart. If you did look at your Walmart and found it there, it might be cheaper. I don't know, but maybe craft stores, I'm sure they have it. You could check with them and find out, maybe with the coupon it would be cheaper there. I don't know. See what it does if you don't mix it in the way I showed you. You're going to get these lumps like this in there, and you don't want those. So you really have to be sure that you're cautious of that so that you don't end up with a big lumpy mess. And when I come back, we'll look at the consistency of it so we can make sure we like the consistency, and then I'll do a little bit of texture pasting on something so you can see what that looks like, and we'll gesso a little bit on the book so you can see what that looks like. So let me stir a little bit more off camera, and I'll come back once it's thickened up. Okay, so once you've made your gesso, you want to make sure that it's a pancake consistency. I don't know if you can see this, but I think mine's kind of pancakey. Hold on, I'm going to show you maybe to the side. Anyway, that's what we want. Now, you probably wondered what I was making gesso for. I've been watching these videos on acrylic pours, and I've been captivated by them. If you haven't seen any of them, they're unbelievable. I can't give you any one person in particular that I've really got a lot out of. I just kind of watched a bunch of them and said, I've got to do this. So my great niece Erika is here, and she and I are going to do this big pour. And I'm using these very small 2x, I think they're maybe 2x3 inch 2x4 inch panel or canvas, and what you want to do is then we're going to gesso it, and I'm just going to do this very lightly because we want to be able to have it dry quickly. I do have one already done, but I'm going to just show you the process from beginning to end so you have the whole concept and you don't go, wait, what step was that? So we're going to just cover the front of it back and forth, and then I'm doing the edges. Keep in mind, I know nothing about painting canvases or gessoing them. I'm just doing what I think I'm supposed to do. This is going to be where we're going to have our overflow, we'll call it. This panel now is done and ready to go, and so we don't need our gesso anymore. We just needed to make sure that it was done, and then we have the dry one all ready to go. Then what you do is you're going to make a mixture of paint, glue, and water. And so I'm going to show you the paints we're going to use, and then we'll talk about the consistency of each one.
Okay, so now we're going to put all our paint into the cup, and before you can pour your paint in, you have to go and get yourself some silicone. And we got this one at the dollar store in the auto section of the dollar store. And you're going to just have to spray a little bit in there. But first, I'll tell you what our parts were. We had 3 parts glue, and then 1 part water, and then for the paint we put 2 parts of the paint, and we just used Mod Podge and for the glue, and then just regular old water for the water, and then we used our acrylic paint for the paint, and this is
Closer in front of you, probably.
This is some of the brands that we used. So now we're going to put the silicone in our cups and do a little mix.
Good.
So we did the silicone in the white, and then you're going to leave the stick in, and then you're going to pour a little bit of the white from high up, and you do about a third, and then stir it, and do the same thing. Make sure it's high up because it makes it the cool pattern, and just keep repeating the process. The more silicone, the bigger the pods you get. Cells.
And when Erika's doing this, you want your consistency to be pretty watery, and you also want to make sure that you stir these really well. And other people stirred it a lot longer than we did, so we don't know for sure if we did it exactly the way you're supposed to be, but we're giving it a shot, and we'll see how it works out. We shouldn't have any lumps in it, but we have a couple that are lumpy. Erika stirred those. I'm just blaming it on her. And then we want to make sure that you are kind of pouring from high up so that you have more of a stream in the center so that the paints don't intermingle so much. It's more of them being in a certain area each paint. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pick up the cup and we're going to put a little more white on top. There's a few things that you can do. If we put it on top like this and then flipped it over, that I think is called a dirty pour. And then a clean pour is when you pour it all over by itself, like just pour it onto the canvas. I'm pretty sure Erika's going to want to dirty pour this.
Okay.
So you're going to hold it on top. No, on the sides,
Oh.
because you don't. Okay, now you're going to hold it really well.
Okay.
Flip it over, and then you're going to, while it's still on there,
Uh-huh.
you're going to put it on top of those pods and don't let go of the cup.
Okay. Oh no.
No.
Oh, okay.
Then what you want to do is, once you're at this point, you kind of want to kind of tilt your canvas to get your colors to move over the design. And if you have a certain kind of color that you want more of versus less, you can move it so that it does, so that it comes out with that. And then on the sides, if you didn't get a little bit covering the side, you can pick up some of the ink down, or some of the paint from below with your stick and just kind of fill it in. And then all you do is you just let it set. And then what we'll do is we'll come back after it's created some of its cells, and we'll see what it does. So we did 3 of these, and this is Erika's last attempt. The point of these acrylic pours is to get what's called cells, which are these little round spots throughout the painting. And Erika's really proud of her work, and I'm really proud of her too, because we had a couple that I believe were fails. One of the things that we think we did wrong was we didn't stir the paint quite as much as we probably should have. You really want to stir the mixture of the 3 parts glue to 1 part water and one or 2 parts paint. We used 2 parts in the end, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we used like 3 teaspoons of glue, 1 teaspoon of water, and 2 teaspoons of paint. Sometimes we use 1 of paint, and then
No more watery, I think.
yeah,
Better.
and when it's more watery, we've had better results than if it's thicker. And when Erika put more silicone in, a little spray didn't get us the cells that we wanted. I think we probably can show you one of them. This was our first attempt, and I'm blaming Erika for this because she didn't stir the gold, so that's why we have the lumps in it. And then our second attempt, we'll put in the video, in the photo at the end, so that you can see what we came up with. But she did an excellent job on this one, and her colors were a lighter pink. No, it's kind of a brighter pink. I'm going to get my arm in this. Yeah. It's this color pink, and then, did you use this blue?
No, the lighter blue.
Okay.
Lighter
this
blue.
color blue, and then a black, and then the white.
And the gray.
And a little bit of it's like a silvery,
Silver.
yeah, and then the white. So that's what she used, and we will at the end show you what it looks like once it's dry. After it's dry, you probably will want to put some kind of spray fixative on it, and probably one that's a gloss will look best, but we do have both, so we'll show you what both look like. We're proud of this one because Erika did a great job of getting cells. We didn't think we were ever going to get cells, but she did a nice job, and so we'll get back to you once we have the finished product. Well, I don't know if you can tell how shiny this is, but this is the last one that Erika made, and it has a lot of the cells in it. It's really pretty. When we were finished, we sprayed it with a fixative that was a gloss finish, and we probably could have put a couple coats on it, but it is glossy. It's just kind of hard to show it really to its advantage in the light, and hopefully you can see the different cells from in this picture, all these little circles. She did a really great job. We did a couple other ones, and I think they came out okay, but this was our real success, and I think it's one of those things where practice makes perfect on it. I have to tell you though, this is addicting. It was so much fun to do, and we really had a good time. So I really recommend you try it, and that you give this a thumbs up and subscribe, and please tell one friend about us on social media. We really appreciate it, and thanks so much for watching. We'll put the photo of all of them in at the end.